Ryder, say hi. Hi. Can't even see you.
Ryder, say bullshit.
Hey, what's up, guys? My name's Adam, and you're watching Dad vs. Kids, where I experiment with the dirty work of fatherhood so you don't have to. This week I asked myself whether or not I could go an entire week without yelling at my kids. Here's how that went down. Pretty epic battle this week with my kids. The challenge was I was not allowed to yell at them for anything at all. If I yelled at them, I had to give each of them a cookie and I had to do 20 push-ups. Going into this challenge, I assumed I was going to do a lot of push-ups. And to be perfectly honest, I didn't really expect to gain a lot from this other than possibly some funny content. But the truth was, the week's up, and I didn't do a single push-up. Now, ordinarily, that's not something to be proud of, and I definitely could stand to do some push-ups, but I'm happy I got through this week not doing any. So I learned 5 things from this, and I'm going to share them with you now. Thing number 1, I had become a lazy dad. That's a tough pill to swallow, but the truth is, I've been relying on yelling as a crutch to interface with my kids. And it had become such a mode that I defaulted to that place all the time rather than just critically thinking my way through the best way to solve a problem. This week, I didn't have that crutch. And so rather than just relying on it, I had to go outside the box and think critically about each situation that I had to intervene in as a father. That is a valuable realization, and I'm glad I came to it. I'm not going to be a lazy dad anymore. Thing number 2 that I learned with my week of not yelling at the kids was that kids respond much more effectively to a calm voice than an angry voice. I know that sounds like the most logical thing in the world, but here's the deal, and I'm sure you parents can relate. When you're a parent and you feel like you need to get their attention because they just won't listen, you start yelling. You think it's the only thing you can do. That's what I felt like for a long time. And it could be that because it was so different that I was speaking to them in a calm voice, but the truth is they responded so much better to me speaking to them in a calm voice this week rather than yelling. It was almost spooky how it was like a magic power that I could just ask them to stop doing a thing and they stopped doing the thing. So I get that it should have been obvious, wasn't to me. Glad I learned that one. Thing number 3 that I learned in my week of not yelling at the kids, yelling makes me an angry person. Again, should have been really obvious. Let me ask you this, do you ever just get pissed off at your kids and walk around like angry because you have kids and you have to yell at them all the time? Ah! I learned it doesn't have to be like that. I was calm, I was cool, I was collected. And granted, I felt angry sometimes when the kids were fighting or misbehaving or running around or being too loud, the things you get mad at kids for. But even then, even in those instances, my anger level was much lower than usual. And then I didn't have the same frustration that I was carrying with me into the night or into the morning. I was just cool. I was so much cooler this week from not yelling at them. That is worth a lot. Thing number 4 that I learned from my week of not yelling at kids is that my kids are not as naughty as I thought they were. I thought that because I felt like I had to yell at them so much every day that obviously their behavior was pretty bad. But the truth is, my yelling was not commensurate with their behavior. And I realized that this week because I had to keep myself in check. So I was actually counting the instances that it was truly difficult to not yell at them, and where I thought it was probably 100 times a day, it was maybe 1 or 2 with all 3 kids combined. So I guess I'm trying to say that I was the problem, not them. Thing number 5 that I learned in my week of not yelling at kids is that when I'm not yelling at my kids all the time, I listen to them so much better. And I'm not just talking about the instances of them having some bad behavior that warrants my intervention as a father. I mean, all day long. The power dynamic shifted because rather than our relationship being defined as me being in a dominant role as dad, I was there in a supportive role, communicating to them effectively all day long. And so when they're talking to me about their Legos that they built, or their cool spaceship game that they're playing, or the awesome spider that they found underneath the porch, I feel like I was really listening to them in a way that I don't think I was able to before, because I was either way too angry, or I was way too loud, or I was just way too distracted by being frustrated about yelling at my kids all week. And I think listening is the cornerstone to a good relationship. And it's important to me to have the best relationship that I possibly can with my kids. So this week was an amazingly valuable experience, one that I didn't think that I was going to have. I just assumed I would have a funny bunch of pictures of me doing push-ups and my kids eating cookies. And I'd do the old, oh, kids are frustrating routine, but they're not. They're really not. The biggest thing I've come to realize through this whole week is that I was failing as a father. And this prescription seemed to be the solution. I'm happy I did it. So I look forward to next week. I'll let you know what the challenge is going to be in the blog. And for any of you who haven't checked out our blog, please look us up in the links below, dadzuka.com. Thank you so much.
Father was a gambler down in Georgia. Long enough.